So in this video, I'm going to talk about Daeron Targaryen, his history and everything you need to know about him. So before we start, welcome back to the plot twist. Now back to the video. So it was Daeron we were talking about. Youngest of Alicent's 4 children, he was born in 114 AC, 114 AC, which already tells you something important. He's just a baby. If you don't mind me saying, he is a runt of the green litter. And you know what happens to the Targaryen babies? Either they are forgotten until somebody needs a spare dragon rider, or they turn out to be absolute menaces. Luckily for Westeros, Daeron turned out normal. Yeah, you heard it right, a normal Targaryen. Daeron was actually shipped off of Old Town and fostered by his mother's family, the Hightowers, which honestly might have saved his life. Imagine growing away from Aegon's drinking games, Aemon's angry boy monologue. Old Town may not have been a paradise, but at least it wasn't the Red Keep daycare from hell. Daeron also had one of the most iconic dragons in the Targaryen arsenal, and that was my favorite dragon, Tessarion the Blue Queen. Sleek, beautiful, shimmering cobalt scales, copper underwings. She's basically Westeros' version of a Ferrari. Compare that to Aegon's Sunfire, who spent most of his career as flaming chicken nugget. Or Aemon's Vhagar, the old warhorse who could barely fit in a driveway, let alone the dragon pit. Tessarion was elegant, fast, and deadly. She was young like her rider, but she had style, I would say. Now, when Viserys dies in 129 AC and the Dance of the Dragons began, Daeron is in Old Town. He's about 15. His mother and siblings are in King's Landing, pulling the biggest "surprise, we stole the throne" stunt Westeros had ever seen. But Daeron isn't a part of that. He was with the Hightowers, and that turns out to be very convenient. Because while the Greens are trying to strong-arm the nobles into supporting Aegon II, Old Town is a powerhouse that already leans towards Greens, obviously because Alicent Hightower and Otto. Now, Lord Ormond Hightower, Daeron's foster father, commands a massive armies in Reach, and Daeron, the sweet baby boy Daeron, is one of the most important characters in that storyline. While the Greens and Blacks start their bloody tug-of-war over the realm, Daeron isn't getting parked at the corner. He is given a role, a real role. Think about it. He's a teenager, but he's becoming the key military figure because he has something the Reach armies don't: a dragon. Dragons are the nukes of Westeros. Imagine you have 10,000 men, but if the other side brings a fire-breathing monster, your 10,000 men are toast. Literally. So when Daeron joins Omen's forces, the Greens suddenly have a dragon rider to lead their campaign in the south. And boy did he deliver. At the Battle of Honeywine, Daeron's dragonfire turned the tides. Tessarion swipes in, blasts the Black's army, and suddenly the Reach is secure for Team Green. The Maesters write about this moment with admiration. They call him brave, they call him skilled, they call him Daeron the Daring. Not bad for a kid nobody remembers, right? Now let's talk about some sibling comparison, because Aegon II at that time, what was he doing? He's sitting on the Iron Throne like a slumpy Morgoth, injured already, unpopular already, barely ruling. Aemond, he's busy flying Vhagar around committing war crimes for fun. In Daeron, he's actually doing his job. He's leading armies, actually winning the battles. It's almost comical that out of Alicent's 4 kids, the youngest is the only one who seems like he could have been a decent king. But of course, this is Dance of the Dragons, baby, so nothing good lasts. In 130 AC, Daeron marches with Omund Hightower's army to take Tumbleton, a key stronghold. The Blacks try to defend it with two dragon riders, Ulf the White on Silverwing and Hugh Hammer on Vermithor. And yes, this is the fight where half of the dragon population of Westeros show up to brawl in the same field. And that is absolute chaos. Fire everywhere, armies being roasted, betrayals left, right, and at the center of it is Daeron with Tessarion, holding his own. He fights, he survives, but Tumbleton becomes infamous. You know why? Because Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White, two supposed black dragon riders, betray the queen and deflect to Greens. Suddenly, the Greens have Vermithor and Silverwing on their side, and Daeron is right there at ground zero. After this, Daeron sticks with the Hightower-led forces as they push deeper into the Blacks' controlled lands, but Tumbleton is where his fate catches up with him. We don't know the exact details because, of course, the sources argue, but what's clear is that Daeron dies young, really young, either fighting in the first battle of Tumbleton or in the chaos that follows. Septon Eustace claimed that he was burnt by his own men, who mistook him as an enemy in confusion. Mushroom naturally blames Dragonfire. The truth is muddy, but what we know for sure is he died in 130 AC. Tessarion didn't survive either. She fights bravely even after her rider's death, but eventually she too is killed. Trapped between sea smoke and Vermithor in the second battle of Tumbleton, the dragon who symbolized Daeron's promise burnt out like a comet. So now let's just recap what exactly we know about Daeron. Daeron, raised away from his dysfunctional family, paired up with one of the most elegant dragons in history, joins the war young, earns the title Daeron the Daring, actually wins the battle for his side, and dies before even turning 20. He's like Westeros' equivalent of the kid who studies abroad, comes home with a degree, and immediately gets drafted into the family feud he didn't start. History remembers Aemond as Kingslayer, Aegon as usurper, Helaena as doomed queen, and Daeron as the daring, the bright, brief flame, the competent, promising, and gone too soon. Alright, now the history lesson is complete. Now let's dive into the fun part, my analysis of Daeron the Daring. Because Daeron might be one of the most intriguing what-if characters in the entire Targaryen history. And to understand him, first we need to talk about his partner in crime, Tessarion the Blue Queen. If dragons were fashion accessories, Tessarion would have been the Dior handbag of the bunch. I mean, cobalt wings, copper underbelly and flames burning blue. She wasn't just dangerous, she was dazzling, the diva among the dragons. The kind of dragon you don't just fear, you stare at her and she roasts you alive. But Tessarion wasn't just pretty, she was also young, nimble and fast, a dragon that reflects her rider perfectly. Daeron himself wasn't the biggest, the loudest or most intimidating among the siblings. He wasn't brooding like Aemond, he wasn't reckless like Aegon, and he wasn't strange like Helaena. Sorry for the disrespect towards the queen. Daeron was clever, courageous, and gentlest among the bunch, and that's what I find poetic. Daeron and Tessarion were match made in heaven, both beautiful, both underestimated, and both defined by potential. Here's the thing about the third sons. They don't grow up expecting power. Aegon grew up spoiled. Aemond grew up with chip in his shoulder, desperate to prove himself. Daeron, he grew up in their shadows, and living in the shadows teaches you patience. It teaches you how to listen. It teaches you how and when to act and when to hold back. The chronicles call him the gentlest of Alicent's sons, and that alone makes him stand out. So yeah, would he have become a good king? That is debatable, and I will talk about it in the next video. So do like, share, comment, subscribe and everything. Now here's my verdict. Daeron Targaryen wasn't just Alicent's good son, he was Westeros's lost opportunity, the one green who might have actually been worthy of the throne, the boy who could have ended the Dance of the Dragons with peace instead of dragging into the mud. But the dance drew up good intentions and spit out ashes. Daeron died because he could prove himself, and Tessarion, the beautiful, brilliant Tessarion, fell not long after. All we are left with the question, what if? And that brings me to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps to push the video out. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read all of them. And I love to know what do you think about Daeron. And yeah, quick real talk. This channel has been demonetized again. So if you want to support my work and keep these videos coming, you can check out Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. It genuinely helps me to, think and buy coffee for this stuff. Subscribe if you're into lore, theories and stories like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, what do we say? The fire and blood will reign. I'll get demonetized again.